Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name's Alistair and this is Plant-Based Logic. 5 stages of grief and veganism. You guys ready for a heavy one? I experienced a lot of loss at a very young age. I lost all my grandparents, cousins, uncles, aunties, and even a close friend in their teens. It was a really hard time growing up. I definitely went to more funerals than I did weddings as a kid. So I had to experience these 5 stages of grief when it came to loss. But I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to compare these 5 stages of grief and compare it to my journey as a vegan? Listen, let's give it a shot. Humor me, all right? When I went vegan all those years ago, and you can see my story here, it started with earthlings, and I experienced my first stage of grief. Complete and utter denial. I just said, nope. Don't believe it. It's not true. This is ridiculous. This is Australia. This doesn't happen here. But I'm also super curious. So my denial didn't really last long. As a lot of you know, I went to a chicken factory farm and I also went to a slaughterhouse. Once I saw it with my own eyes, something very quickly happened. I moved from denial to absolute fuming like the fire of a million suns anger. I was as stereotypical angry vegan as you can get. Angry at the world, angry at the people, angry at my friends and family, calling everyone murderers, animal abusers, calling everyone out for being part of this system of oppression. I would go to bed at night crying with frustration. How could the world be so blind to the horrors that these animals go through? How does that knowledge not give you that visceral, disgusting feeling? How can people just blindly support this industry and not question it? It drove me crazy. I was helpless. There was nothing I could say or do. Figuratively throwing blood on people wasn't having much of an effect. And honestly, that feeling of helplessness and anger led me into the next stage, bargaining. In the context of veganism, bargaining for me was, what if? What if people could just open their eyes to what I saw? What if people could see a vegan bodybuilder? Or the health aspects? Or something good about not eating animals? Maybe they could change their minds. This led me down a more passive and softer activism route. Hey, look at this joke. What about this vegan bodybuilder, hey? Look at this smoothie bowl. Maybe I could trick people by using their egos to care about the animals. Trick is a terrible word, but it was part of the bargaining. What if they could open their eyes in any way possible, whatever it took, just so they could be exposed to what the animals go through? And I learned something pretty quickly. People generally didn't care, or they pretended not to care. People use whatever excuse they can to justify their behavior. I mean, nobody wants to think that they're doing something bad or that they're a bad person, so we justify. And this led me to the next stage, a deep depression. Anyone who was following my Instagram in 2016, 2017 knows the horrible spiral I went down. I'm gonna say for me that there is personally no worse feeling than feeling helpless. That feeling of being powerless. And I am such an egotistical bastard that I couldn't accept the fact that there was nothing I could do. And there's a real funny thing about these stages. It's not a linear journey, and you can experience one or more of these stages multiple times. So, like a hamster on its wheel, I would go from depression to anger, back to bargaining, back to depression, back to anger, back to bargaining, back to depression. Round and round and round we went. I was caught in that cycle of grief for years. And it's just been in the last couple of years. So my whole journey of 10 years from going plant-based to veganism to vegan activist to meme maker to depressive bastard, I'm now at the last stage, and that is acceptance. And that acceptance doesn't mean I'm happy with the state of the world. It doesn't mean that I've come to terms with what the animals go through, nor does it mean I'm going to stop fighting for the animals. Acceptance doesn't mean that I feel amazing all the time, and I still have nightmares about the horrors that these animals go through. And although it's great that vegan products are increasing and the sales are going up, but I'm also well aware that large parts of Asia, including India and China, are eating more meat. So the actual animal flesh production has increased. Acceptance was understanding the things that I could not change. This egotistical bastard had to check himself, hold himself down, and say, this is the reality right now, and reality sucks. I know that in the end, veganism will prevail. I know it will. Maybe not in my lifetime, maybe not even in the next, but it will. I'm pulling out the old adage, it's not a sprint, it is a marathon. And we're well into this marathon, I can tell you that. I like to use the analogy of climbing a huge mountain. And you're constantly looking up at how far you have to go. And looking at how far you have to go can be quite overwhelming and daunting. It can make you angry, tired, or sad. But take the time to stop, appreciate how far we have come. If you waste your energy on being angry or depressed, how can you pour from an empty cup? If you burn out, how do you expect to fight for the animals. Anyway, this is my journey. This is what I've experienced. And to be honest, right now, it's helped me fight harder than ever before. I feel I'm more effective now being less angry and less depressed, but I want to know your experience. Do you agree with me here? I don't expect you all to agree with me. In fact, I know a lot of people who will tell me to stay angry, and that acceptance is weakness, it's a loss. The animals are dying now, and you need to get angry. I just feel that we can be more effective for the animals if we look after ourselves a little bit better. My name's Alistair, this is Plant-Based Logic, and until next time, bye for now.